All right, let's see how far we can get before we wrap this up. I wonder if people still use the word Yule, like Yule time and stuff like that. That's gotta be a word that's just gone from the dictionary, right? Usher. Always love that. Usher. What in the world is that last word? Surely. Yeah, okay. I see you. I don't know why, like, I kept going with, like, Sleer. Or Userly or something like that. Loser? Chat, I was having the microphone pointed at the window. Hoping you all could hear even a smidge of thunder, and it almost seems like it's kind of moving. I doubt you all will hear anything today, really. Which I'm sure is gonna make you all very upset. V, I wanted to fall asleep to the thunder. It's not even raining. That's the weird part. It's like super dark outside and I can hear thunder, but there's not a drop of rain. How's that happen? Somebody get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the track. Try to figure this one out. I always want to do Tory, Torre, but I don't know if that word is relevant anymore. That was a thing back when the UK was trying to stay out of the EU, right? Is that even a thing anymore? I haven't been able to watch the news. Well, not watch, I just listened to it on the radio. I haven't really been able to do my radio listening in years. Nice remote. We got some remote workers in the chat right now. Taking their 5th break of the day. It's good for productivity. 25 on, 5 off. And you just do that throughout the day, and before you know it, it's 5 p.m. And then once it's 5 p.m. and you close the laptop, before you know it, it's 8 a.m. in the morning. It's time to get back on the machine. Shout out to those of you who are doing that right now. And those who aren't, you could be in the work break room, eating a Monster Energy Dreamsicle ice cream or something. Whatever, that doesn't even sound like a real thing. My assumption is someone poured a mountain... No. My assumption is someone left a Monster Energy drink in the freezer, the can exploded, and the only thing left of it is like a solid mass that you're just nibbling on. Probably tastes really good, not gonna lie. Just don't get a habit of it. Mainly, hit you with one of these. And then from there, we'll hit you with one of these. And then I'm like tapped out. That's all I can come up with. That used to be the strat back in the day. pour a drink inside of a styrofoam cup, toss it in the freezer, let it freeze over, then you rip off the styrofoam. There's no microplastics in there. No, that wasn't a thing back in the day. We used to sell those for 50 cents a cup at like baseball practice. Now, were people littering the styrofoam pieces all over the place? No. Back then, everyone disposed of their cups like sane individuals. I'm a little stumped here. I really am stumped. Anyway. I don't think you can even sell stuff at baseball practice anymore without a license. Like, if you aren't an employee at the stadium or the field, and you're over there trying to sell even like candy bars for probably $1.50 because they cost so much, I think you'll get kicked out. I don't think you're allowed to do that kind of thing anymore. You're barely allowed to sell stuff on the side of the road. Yo, congrats to the gamers. Sell Huntress, Dyson, Mary, as well as everyone else who tried to submit words. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Today we're gonna try to stream as much as possible. As I said, we have some weather outside. Yo, Blaze, good to see you. T157 year streak. Oh my god. The fact that you can streak out that, Blaze, that's sick. Blaze, you're a real one. Thank you. This $3 Snickers from 7-Eleven has your name on it. Yeah, we were at Home Depot, and the candy and Monster energy drinks there are also pretty ridiculous. No one's catching up to Blaze? Some people used to put leaderboards on their streams. Do I still have that technology? Hang on. We might be able to hook it up. No leaks, please. No leaks, please. Echo? Includes paid promotion? What? Shoot, I wish I knew who was paying me. Yeah, there was leaderboards. Location leaderboard, okay. Shoutouts to my Norway viewers. My Norwegians out there. We're gonna leak. Alright, forget you saw anything. Alright, chat, today on the agenda, we have games done quick. For those who don't know, we were actually watching and participating in Games Done Quick yesterday on a very rare Sunday job. Or oh, did you miss him? So what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be doing like a recap, watching through the boss rush piece. It's like 40 minutes or so, so we'll probably fill an hour of our time. Almost 5 years, so it's 2024 now. That would be 2019. We got the sub button in 2018, I think. And even then, it was just like kind of hanging there. I wasn't really doing anything with it. Even now, there's more I could be doing with it. We try our best, obviously, but there's always room for improvement. Yo, Marzi, good to see you. Using Panchaku, does the last 3 attacks parry the bombs? The spin is the only thing that parries bombs. The shoulder charge should not. If it is, that's kind of next level. You tuned in for it? Yesterday I had a blast. Yeah, and I probably didn't do the best job of relaying that I'm gonna be up there. But you all know me, I get a little self-conscious. Like, if someone reaches out for me to do something, I'll do that thing. But do I necessarily, like, signal boost that from there? Not really. Only because it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to feed into my own head too much. Especially when it comes to high stakes and being on stage. If I gas myself up a little too much, I might get a little nervous, and that leads to some performance issues. If I keep it as casual as possible, in fact, like, don't even think that you're even on the stage in the first place. Just pretend like you're just streaming as normal. And then everything works out. That's what we were doing on Sunday. Sorry, I just want to close this window. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at this. I had a blast, obviously. We had the homie Looter Die up there as commentary. And that was something that the folks over at GDQ suggested, is that you don't really need to do this on your own. In fact, it's probably better for you as the runner to have someone taking on as much of the talk as possible while you focus on the run itself. So that was extremely helpful. Imagine everyone behind the screen is in their anime underwear just like me. Question is, which anime? Because that's that's where lines might get drawn. After this, assuming my power doesn't go out, after this we'll probably do some Path of Exile for the rest of the night. Only because I think we have VeeTriMes for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 27th. And then alongside that, now that we're done with 22 BC, I have to figure out what we're gonna do until Saturday. Actually, we're done with the Dead Cells series. Hang on. Oh my god. I'm just clicking on everything today. The Dead Cells series is done too. Can I just do this? Yeah, so this was 10 episodes, so now we don't have anything to do on Saturday, so you have to figure out how to fill in the rest of the week's docket. Boss Rush was actually pretty fun. You could always go back to Boss Rush Showcase. Vor did say that Boss Rush is a category on speedrunners.com. I personally didn't see it. And that could be a get good. Eyeballs ain't like how they used to be. So the regular category as Warpless, Warps, Fresh File, 0 to 5, and 5 BC. Category extension as All Runes, Reverse Rune Order, Cursor, Training Room Boss Rush, and All Bosses. Training Room Boss Rush is literally in the training room, and then you try to run through all of these. Oops. And then All Bosses is like the normal run of Dead Cells, except you try to hit Dracula, Queen, Giant, Spoiler in the most efficient way possible. So as far as I know, what we basically made up is not a category. And if it is, I don't see it in the list. Call of Duty beta is up on Saturday. Is that multiplayer only beta? That's what they did last time, right? Where it was like, we're gonna release a beta for the actual PvP, and then the story is gonna come out in the actual, like, hang on. The story is gonna come out in the real game. Okay, so yeah, when I wanted to do this, in the spirit of full disclosure, so Jiggy reached out to me. I believe Vord was already on the squad, because this was actually a full roguelike segment. I don't even know what they started off with. Swap, a classic roguelike game. Let's try past broadcasts. Okay, so they started off with Binding of Isaac. And the Binding of Isaac speedrun, I think, is just any percent. R plus 7 characters. I wonder what that is.
Azazel, the one with the
Beat the game with 7 characters?
We'll be seeing him at the very end.
Save the easiest for
I wonder what constitutes as a win. Is it just beating mom? No, you have to actually go through the whole thing. So the Binding of Isaac speedrun, in my opinion, is actually pretty cool, because every run of the speedrun is gonna be very different. Because there's like a billion items in Isaac.
by the way.
So it's your job to try to like make something that's gonna win the game. Like there's Ipecac in here. It's like the only item I know is Ipecac. Bible technology.
Is it just
Yeah, it's really just smooth sailing.
So after that, there's the Splatoon roguelike, which is a DLC, I guess. Are they doing seeded runs or random? I have no idea. My assumption is that at least the first one, well, there's like a full mod integration. That's interesting.
today is finding of it's gonna be a lot of fun. We have just got Dead God run today. You know, we'll be here for what, the next 12 hours?
Okay. Yeah, so it almost looks like it has its own built-in thing. It's really interesting. Alright, so that was the Isaac setup. Then they go over to Splatoon.
Gonna go straight into the chaos, and things get a little interesting, to say the least.
Which I've never actually seen the Splatoon roguelike DLC.
Since it's like you're supposed
And it's purely solo, I believe.
to play the tower multiple times in order to get enough.
Funny enough, like I have a vid I'm working on for games that have random roguelike modes.
Reasonably, but since we don't do that, well, we're gonna be climbing with.
Has anyone played this
One thing of damage reduction
in the chat?
That's it. We're gonna have to make it work. And that would make
Before what was probably one of the ball out from there. And real quick, I do want to touch on something you mentioned earlier.
I'm curious to see like what's the
And
roguelike
so
feature
by completing
of this.
runs and doing things, you get these items called pearls. To be going to get a set amount of pearls.
First floor,
for the
easy.
First climb. And some runners early on noticed that if you open the equivalent of the bestiary in this game, you can get some.
There is
extra
combat,
pearls, which
right?
gives us just enough
Splatoon's
to
weird because
buy the safer
you're
upgrades
basically
that we do
painting the
in
floor.
these runs, like we're going to do here.
Is that not how you win?
What, 10 minutes? How long is? I'm so used to normal first climb art.
Is it like Risk of Rain?
it's,
Remember
it's
how
gonna
long
be like 18
cutscenes
minutes
are?
until we can actually.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
The thing is, though, in actual any percent world record, what you would do is only go with 1 life and the damage reduction, because the damage reduction. is
So,
valuable.
okay, here we go. So you get these things. Poison ink increase the damage enemies take when they're on your ink by triple damage.
It saves you from getting.
And then there's stuff you have to pay for.
So,
Included, do somewhat affectionately refer to this category as gambling.
oh, I love
I wonder how wild does this get?
we've mentioned this mega doc a little bit.
This is
and
supposed to be a
this
1 hour
day,
run.
it is still a
I'm
part of
wondering,
the
like, if we
of the
scroll ahead
Steam
enough,
community.
can we see what a build
Because
looks
apparently
like?
sleep-deprived videos are the funniest.
Exactly.
Or does it just look like
And
Splatoon
it's just-
as
To
normal?
this day, we have to point it out every single time somebody mentions that Ian is hacking or cheating. We have to point out the origin of why that joke.
What a weird
why
game.
that joke exists.
I feel like there was actually no combat there, so maybe some rooms are platforming challenges? It's cool ideas.
I could have
I-
taken another.
I'd be willing to try it if I had a copy of Splatoon. What do you say? The question is, Frostbite doesn't work that good with melee mutation, does it? I mean, it depends on what your take is on Frostbite in the first place. So Frostbite does its most damage when a monster's frozen. And funny enough, melee can freeze things. Probably the easiest way to freeze a monster with melee is to have Launcher Grenade, which applies like 1 to 2 stacks of freeze by itself. And then your attack itself has 1 stack, so that's an instant 3 on your first hit. Things like Hayabusa Gauntlets can make it happen very quickly. My only issue is I'd be curious between open wounds. Melee's mandatory, so you're basically -1 mutation right there. You'll only have 2 mutations. Between open wounds and combo, can Frostbite ever out damage either of those two? And I don't know what the answer is to that. I think on bosses, since bosses don't always stay slowed or frozen for very long, they have diminishing returns and resistances. My thinking is it will fall off after Concierge. Concierge gets frozen, stays frozen for a while. You'll get some good damage out of that, but after that, I don't know if it's gonna be any good. And good is like, I'm using that term extremely lightly here because I cannot trust that to do real damage. If I had a... Even if I had a Hokuto's bow, the idea that I have to shoot the Hokuto, then punch the enemy, and it'll die to Frostbite, like it's already taking Hokuto damage from the normal hits. It's worth trying, I'm sure. I'm sure it's kind of down to feeling on if it's going to be good or not.
I think it's fine now because.
Alright.
40 is.
So that's the Splatoon segment. After that was VeeDotVod doing 0 to 5 BC. 0 to 5 BC is, I think the world record's down to 1:50. Which, to be honest, if I were to ever like fully commit to doing any speedrun category, it would probably be 0 to 5 BC. Yeah, world record's down to 1 hour 50. The run is still extremely difficult, regardless of like how good you are at the game. Especially once you get into like 3 BC. So this is 3 BC right here. Out of the stuff VeeDotVod has equipped, there's a single plus electric whip. There's a cursed wolf trap. So the cursed version of wolf trap is always S rank. And then a legendary Tesla coil. The legendary, which I assume was pulled at random during the run, can choose from any items available. It doesn't have to be something you have unlocked. Yeah, so this legendary Tesla showed up here in Toxic Sewers. And VeeDotVod kept that all the way to the end of the game. So in terms of like the best parts of 0 to 5 BC, this is, in my opinion, the best part, which is closer to Binding of Isaac speedruns. It's finding something in the run itself that gives you time savings for that 1 BC, because after that, you'll be moving on to the next one. Yo, Emza, good to see you. So, if it was any less than 2 hours, for me, like, doing this run is probably 2 hours and 30 minutes, if not like a full 3 hours. So if the run was any shorter, I would not mind trying it, but 3 hours is a bit of a marathon for me to like do something straight, no talking, no entertainment. Like, obviously you talk, but
There's the first verse.
it's like just pure focus for 3 hours. I think I might struggle. So then after that is Conra segment. Conra is doing fresh file, 80%. I believe currently the record for fresh file is like 8 minutes. 7 minutes, 46 seconds in game time. So it's extremely quick. It's very well documented too. Like, aside from really bad Ramparts RNG, for example, it is an extremely streamlined run. Very little cells used.
It depends. There's the T-shape object.
The variance comes from what legendary you get from Concierge, assuming you get a no-hit. Did I go backwards? Maybe there was a death. I just kind of want to see what dropped from a Concierge. And even then, you have to assume you're gonna get the no-hit. You may not. So there's some variance here. And then on Timekeeper,
Yeah.
this is like a real fight you have to do.
Pretty difficult fight to execute correctly.
It doesn't really matter if you get the no-hit or not, I believe. Ideally, you want to try to just do as much damage as you can.
Okay, this is a good phase switch.
Which looks like, you know, it might turn out to be the no-hit. But I wouldn't be surprised if she skips the legendary door.
Fresh files actually that we would normally pick up that blueprint that just dropped. If you watched older fresh file runs, you might see
Interesting.
the light speed,
I thought they were gonna get the light
the
speed.
hyper speed tech that we used to do. That's no longer a thing in this category. We changed this.
They don't do light speed anymore?
But yeah, we normally used to have to farm a lot of cells. We used to have to pick up that blueprint, actually unlock it, and then set up for a glitch called the hyper, which allows
This is
us
new to
get
me.
the final boss. We don't need to do any of that anymore. This is unfortunate. So the path is unknown to me right now.
Yeah,
Just
so this
no,
is bad RNG. And like I said, the run is extremely documented. What Conra is seeing is that the initial map here, the shop dictates which branch the actual end of the biome is. So typically, the way how High Peak works is that there's a path going up and a path going down. One side has, well, both sides have 3 doors, and you know, you could teleport to the other side and pop out. However, only one of those routes has the actual exit to Hand of the King, and typically it's the route that you pass through the shop. However, if the shop generation is before the path, now either path could have the exit.
Wait, okay. It's the base.
As far as I
And
know,
like
there's
that. As
no
you
way
saw
to
in the
know it.
last run, it interrupts the final boss of 5VC quite well. You know how I said earlier that there's actually a surprise at the final boss? It's a pretty nice surprise. It's actually funny
Alright.
because this glitch has been in the game for a long time, like probably.
Oh, okay, so Vord came into our chat talking about a new, it's not a new glitch, apparently it's been there for almost every patch of the game. But apparently there's a new glitch that allows you to bypass Hand of the King
Since the
without
start of
having
the
to fight
game,
him.
and we recently discovered it, like a few days ago. If you move your camera down like this and crouch the entire time, then you just start rolling like this, you can actually just...
No shot. That's all you have to do? It's that
walk
easy?
past him.
Yep.
You don't need to fight him.
No way. How has no one ever done that? Crap, what's the challenge? Right? Maybe it's left. Yeah, so even this wouldn't have done it. I tried to do like a no directional input thing, but you get to press the right button. Maybe if it was like no inputs at all. Well, no, even then you would just be pressing circle to dodge roll. So like you would never think to hold the down button.
And the king is next to me.
Right? Yeah. I would have never thought to hold down.
If you move your camera down like this and crouch the entire time, then you just start rolling like this, you could actually just walk past him.
Yep.
You don't need to fight him.
The best glitch ever discovered.
So that's why we don't need
Dead
to do
Cells.
the hyperspeed anymore either.
Holy.
Which lets us run a little bit faster through the biomes as well. We don't have to check the time doors anymore optimally.
I wonder if other bosses do that.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time.
Is that reserved only for Hand of the King? Can I proc that in... I'm gonna try that right now. Hand of the King has a very... No, the King. Oh, Hand of the King has a stiff neck. Because I thought, like, when you choke the King, like, yeah, he's got the malaise in his neck, so he probably can't turn it all that well. It's the shoulder blades. Like, when you're crept up like this, like the guy from 90 Day Fiancé, it's hard. Looking like... not Matt Damon. So it was Michael Keaton. And then after Michael Keaton, it was George Clooney. And then after George Clooney, it's the guy who's opposite. Oh, don't forget Val Kilmer. Wait, who did I say? Did I not say Val Kilmer? Anyway, now it's the guy from Twilight, right? Which, from what I understand, he actually was not a half-bad Bruce Wayne. I didn't see the movie, but that's what I've heard anyway. Did a good job? Yeah, that is... And I think the deep lore is that he doesn't really care for his Twilight role in the first place. So I wouldn't be surprised if anything he did after Twilight, he was gonna put his heart and soul in. Doesn't seem to work in Boss Rush. Maybe Boss Rush is coded differently. Okay, that's fair. I'm curious if that glitch works on every boss in the game. I'm just not willing to look right now. So yeah,
And,
after that
finally
segment,
It's like it's 90 degrees.
we were brought in, and for those who don't know, I don't normally speedrun Dead Cells at all. And mostly because, like, I don't really know how to do the speedrun. Speedrunners would have tested that when it was discovered. Yeah, so I guess I'm not in the know, so to speak. I'm sure I could ask the question that will tell me. Yo, Loot, good to see you. Loot, your name. It's on the screen right now. We're doing a recap, and you're apparently featured in here. How are we doing today? Pretty good. Pretty good. We are waiting to see if we lose power. A lot of thunder. A lot of thunder for my Imagine Dragons fans. But there's not really a lot of rain outside. I have no idea what's going on. We gotta get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the case. Was Vord not available? Not available to answer the question about being able to skip every boss in the game? I'm sure I could ask. Chat, right now we're trying to do a recap of GDQ. We just got to the segment that I was on, and I wanted to give like a precursor as to how we got to this point. As I said, I don't really speedrun Dead Cells. I've tried it a couple of times, and I haven't really been able to like marry the way how I do content, like the way I talk to my chat, the way how I like move around on the field, the way how I kill monsters. I haven't been able to translate into speedruns, at least not yet. So when Jiggy approached me to ask about like filling in a gap, so there's the 0 to 5 BC, which is gonna be the longest segment, and then there's Fresh File, which is gonna be the shortest segment. You end up with this gap of like, okay, we need a run that's not 3 hours long, but it's also not 8 minutes long. Is there anything you can come up with? And I thought to myself, okay, Boss Rush. Now, Boss Rush as a category was training room Boss Rush, in my opinion. So I know for a fact that 90% of the people in the chat are not gonna know what Boss Rush was. And if you think about it, 0 to 5 BC and Fresh File is gonna be the same bosses. It's Concierge, Conjunctivius 1 time, maybe 2 times, Timekeeper, 1 time Giant, and then a bunch of Hand of the King. So the other thought process was, if we do the enhanced boss rush, not only do we get like a different sampling of what's in the game, but it's gonna be different than what the viewers have seen for the past like 3 hours. And then there's the fact that boss rush is actually kind of hard. It's a little difficult. In fact, the first run, I died with Brutality, going left to right, Brutality, Tactic, Survival. I died in Brutality and had to redo. Which is fine because it was like very, very early on.
Nowhere's placement.
I'm gonna get to my death.
Song in this.
Dang, even Mama Dig tore me up.
Really much because
Okay. So I have a 4 times damage taken Flame Blast here, which is like, it's good, but funny enough,
you didn't get to see this during the run at
even
all,
with
but
the
this is part
crits
of the Castlevania DLC from Dead Cells, right?
That's right.
it's probably good damage. You know what the issue is? I think it's because Dracula teleports away. So I'm probably losing
And it's fully
stacks of
faithful
fire,
to so much of what
potentially.
made, the Castlevania.
Does he lose all? No, the fire's still there. So like I'm losing
Part of the
DPS.
Castlevania
I die because I
DLC
got
from
hit.
Dead Cells,
True.
That's right. And it's fully faithful to so much of what made the Castlevania series great. They did a really good job. This was truly an
Yeah, I feel like the damage was not
homage.
as impressive as I would have liked
Love the source
for 4
material.
times damage.
Yeah, V is just
Yeah, that one was tough.
melting Dracula.
And then here I know I have disengage, so I tried to go for the kill mid
Not
disengage, but I got like knocked backwards in the hit. I was hoping I'd get hit, pop bubble, and then I could just like keep going.
Yes, this fight is tough.
I did
Can't
use the
dodge
health
some of
pot.
fireballs he throws in this one.
That one, I actually failed the assault.
Melting Dracula.
That was supposed to be an assault dash, and I actually did it incorrectly.
Yes, this fight is
So he
tough.
choked under the
Can't
pressure.
dodge some
Brutality, win
of
rate,
the
kick
fireballs
W, indeed. Even just starting off with the dodge roll,
in this one.
Wow. So it was unfortunate. And that is me like knowing that boss rush is gonna be actually extremely difficult. So at that point, I had to think to myself, we have to play for keeps, obviously, and then we have to try hard. So at that point, I had to kind of like rely on loot for most of the discussion while I giga focus on whatever we're doing.
Through the 3 colors.
And like even here, we were getting some of the worst tubes that I've ever seen in boss rush. Alucard shield, another assault shield, which like in some cases is okay, but in most of these bosses it's not okay. Curse sword. Bladed Tonfa wasn't the answer. So I ended up having to go with the Molotov, knowing that like at least with heavy turret, we'll be able to get extra damage on it.
We're fighting against anything here, but it does something in the next fight.
So I'm gonna let this one play out a little bit. If y'all have any questions about boss rush and stuff like that, feel free to ask.
And a lot of the hitboxes didn't line up with the visual.
So I also have to play. So like, do you all know how I play? I always try to do stuff that like maybe it's not always the right move, but if it works, it's great. So against Conjunctivius, there's the bullet hell. It's trying to do Toho right now. All the panels have fallen. It's gonna go up in the sky and then do bullet hell. So my job here is to interrupt that move so that it becomes a talking point where, oh, by the way, this thing does Toho, but you can interrupt it if you use Assault Shield.
We all struggled a lot with
The heavy turret can do it too, but heavy turret can't really reach up that high.
But I remember when this first came out, a lot of us were kind of scratching our heads on why we kept getting hit.
Yeah, this thing got some nerfs. Even then, how I fell to the ground and a tentacle came up, I'm actually surprised the tentacle didn't just hit me on the spot. At one point, you used to get hit during the roar and there was nothing you could do about it. Your character's stunned, basically, during the roar animation, but the tentacles are not.
Ooh.
And that one, like, I'm even surprised myself.
I'm surprised I didn't get hit by that tentacle.
Like, I was 90% sure that's the end of the no-hit.
Loot, could you tell the audience what the difference is between this and what Vord may have done in 5BC? Or 0 to 5BC?
Yeah, so 0 to 5 BC, I think you fight Conjunctivius one time, maybe 2 times. Because there's a shortcut in 3 BC to get to Conjunctivius. And then to get to the giant, you have to go through Graveyard. And maybe you have to fight Conjunctivius again in the Graveyard.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I mean, with Vord, he's trying to get through the entire game 6 times essentially. He's trying to get through that.
So yeah, here's the second roar. And I actually missed the assault dash here. And what Giga sucks is I don't even think the turret could have helped. The turret's supposed to do a stun, right? So there's the roar, but it's not even attacking. Why would the turret not be attacking here? I feel like I actually got trolled by that.
In one go.
I gotta fix my facial expressions in live events like this. I get like evidently tilted.
As we were saying earlier, like the RNG is pretty high because you don't really control it. Of course, there's a way to customize that.
That's gotta be a skill.
Out of the spawn pool, but for the most
Dang,
part,
holy water also useless here.
There's gonna be a lot of concierges.
All right, so getting into concierge. This fight, when you're playing melee, is actually, like, not great. Like, I still have this Bladed Tonfa on me, thinking that there may be a scenario where it could out-damage the Molotov, but there's no reason to do it, I feel. Thank you, DJ. And it's fine, because it's still a matter of, just keeping the audience engaged. For all I know, my question wasn't very engaging.
to the Master of Arms Instincto pretty much entirely.
Like, you can do cool stuff with the Assault Shield, like those parries.
For the longest time,
But
the two concierges were Shark Girl and Lava Boy.
GDQ chat lives for streamer tilt, you think so?
there it is.
That sucks. I had to roll and then assault dash in the air. Maybe I could have ducked, actually.
But
The two concierges were Shark Girl and Lava Boy.
nice. There.
Yeah, so right here, this is a tough setup. Because, like, there's gonna be a jump and there's gonna be flames on the ground. If I do the mid-air parry right now, there's a chance I land in the fire.
There it is.
I think the answer was duck. Duck under the first conjunct, and then jump over the fire after.
Pikachu, I think, for a little while there. I don't recall what the purple.
Yo,
one
Vord,
was.
good to see you. For the Hannah King skip earlier, you didn't have to hold the... You didn't hold the camera down. That plus crouching is the answer, not just one. Skip works for Dracula Phase 1, but that's it. So, I'm trying to think, like, where could you find advantages there? I'm surprised it doesn't work against... Well, Scarecrow, I guess you would have bounced up no matter what. Vord, is it that every boss... So, like, Timekeeper, you open the door, you enter, closes, cutscene immediately. Mama Tick... I'm surprised it doesn't work on Mama Tick. That isn't like a door? I think you run into it and the camera pans over. It's like by then they already fixed it because it's the DLC and they never went back and fixed Hand the King that was there in the first place. That's like my headcanon now. That'd be hilarious. Pyro, good to see you.
Sure, there's a Pokemon there.
So yeah, once we get our first kill,
I feel like you have to go
regular concierge, easy clap, nothing to really think about there. We get Giant and Scarecrow again. And honestly, Scarecrow in Boss Rush to me is the hardest one. Timekeeper is also very hard. But I feel as though I died to Timekeeper because I misplayed. Against Scarecrow, it's a coin flip for me.
You got the mainly has a lot.
It really depends on what attacks come out, how wonky they are. Remember, Scarecrow has some of the wonkiest attacks. Like, it'll be 5 inches above the ground doing sickles, or it'll just do like constant attack spam faster than I can do the parries. And that's not like the parry has a delay, but more so like mentally it's faster. I was surprised someone tested this even before my time because that skip existed for Conjunct already and they patched it. My assumption was old runners tried it on every boss after finding it. Yeah, what we were saying earlier was that if that was... Because I tried to go back to an older video I had where I thought maybe I would not have ran in. But even then, every circumstance I have, even if I wasn't using D-pad, I would just be pressing dodge roll. Even if I was ducking, I wouldn't have considered moving the camera down. It's like all of those pieces together never came across my mind. EX Timekeeper feels like a dexterity check. Yeah, and it's also like an item check too. I think some items literally don't function in EX Timekeeper.
But yeah, the Giant's gonna be.
So yeah, I know we're fighting the Giant, so we'll bring out Pyro. Pyro can hit both fists at the same time, even though I already failed to do that as soon as I go in.
to me to use things or like
Oil Grenade came in.
but that's not happening.
Decent cooldown on that with Instincto. It's tough. Like, I have ideas in my head before I'm on the stage right now. I have ideas, and then once I get on the stage, I lose half of them.
Funny thing is that even though he's got 4 arms, and this fight is quite different.
So this is where Giant, as like a no-hit, becomes really, really RNG. sometimes you get combinations of attacks that are borderline unblockable. Sometimes you have to jump off the arena, and that was like the only answer, was to jump off and then try to get your way back on. In some cases, you have to do the parry, because if you dodge roll through, there's a chance you might land on fire, and at least the parry gives you the chance to like delay your fall a little bit.
This is actually one of the more balanced fights of the augmented set.
I do agree, it's a very well designed fight for as much jank as there probably is in it.
More careful during this phase where the crystals are falling down.
And especially like when you compare side by side, if someone was to ask you like what's the difference between Timekeeper EX and regular, you might not be able to give a good answer, but for Giant, you can always answer the question, what's the difference?
You can see they're actually all moving much more quickly than they would in the regular Giant fight.
That delayed punch.
That hanged for like half a second.
Hung, by the way.
This boss does a little each. I can mess with your...
So this is the one that scares me every single time. I think to myself that if I don't play this like perfectly, this is where the run ends.
It's a good one.
And it's really like this right here.
Yeah, so this...
Because in my head, I have to dodge roll the first sickle. I'm so afraid of getting hit by that first sickle. But in reality, because like, look at the angle here. You see how it actually comes up next to the boss? I think like right around here, it will also hit the player. So like safety wise, it's safe right here from it. But then like, if I'm using a melee weapon, I'm doing no damage.
This guy's basically a glass cannon. And he goes down...
Yeah, I still got hit by the second one. And then that was because of the pyro end lag. My character actually turned around, but because I greeted for damage, I guess. Yeah, even in the air, you're not exactly safe from the sickles either. You would have to do a dodge roll plus some.
Yeah, he'll do that side swipe maybe, 5-6 times.
I'm holding off on healing, because I know those are moments where I can do some damage.
I do kind of wish there was a way to put the...
And unfortunately, I have Assault Shield here, so I can't really do parry spam. It would have been pretty nice, I guess.
If we could have had augmented bosses and maybe a little bit more incoming damage from enemies in general. I think that
Yeah, it would have been nice if we had augmented bosses in the normal game.
PC, to be honest.
I wonder, because for those who don't know, before Evil Empire was taken off the squad, they said that they had a roadmap all the way to 2025. So I almost wonder if either 6BC or just like EX 5BC was gonna be added at some point. Even as like a separate game mode, something for fun.
Yeah, what Ben and Brent said there, stagger. Exactly. So in this game, stagger is...
Yo, so Huntress, have a good rest of your day. Yeah, we have to look out for sickles in the air. Pyro cannot aim down very well.
As opposed to what Breach does.
And then part of it is I have to stall too, because if I'm in the air and I land for the combo, I might land and get tagged by damage. Alright, so the last one is Hand the King. Hand the King is basically the normal Hand of the King. I get lucky with the Face Flask, with the bonus move speed on it.
That's one of the distinctions right there.
And of course we swap out to get a different shield. You all know Hand of the King. So that was good. Like, that gave me a little bit more confidence, because getting through Brutality is the hardest part. The rest of it is like, all we need is good items to show up. So tactics, I see Star Fury, I see Magic Missile, I see Tesla Coil. That's an insta-take. I go ahead and check the other corner, just in case there's something I'd rather have, and there's not. The Serenade's not terrible. If I had, like, Quick Bow, for example, just something that required ammo, I would have taken Serenade as, like, actual DPS.
One of my favorites.
The queen fight was pretty good.
And if you're not careful,
What was I doing there?
shot very easily.
Did I have a shield for that?
Hits will
That one's also janky because even though she's snared by Boyax, Nutcracker won't crit all the time.
take between 75 and 90% of his health off.
And I say janky not in a negative term here.
Build his character.
It's a character. The fight has a lot of character to it.
Sure, I'm glad they fixed the hitboxes for Kanji. That was definitely a struggle for the first little while.
So yeah, same thing here.
In the normal fight,
I don't have the interrupt capability, so when Toho happens, at best I can maybe do the parries.
They've nerfed this thing twice now, and it's still one of the best skills in the game. Kind of like the boys.
But unfortunately, sometimes I get a little worried that I'm gonna get hit doing the parry anyway, like depending on the angle. If it's too shallow? No, it would be too deep of an angle, right? If the angle's too deep from overhead, I feel as though I will get hit by the parry.
Quite a bit during this augmented Russian as well. Lady.
Alright, so that's conjunct. We don't do any changes here. We swap from Magic Missile to Star Fury. Because even though my Magic Missile... Does it have Pierce?
In the game.
I don't think my Magic Missile had Pierce. No, it does. Okay, so I could have stuck with Magic Missile for this fight. With the assumption that if I go directly forward and not up and not down at any weird angle,
Not worse.
then I could actually get networking on these. But I figured Star Fury is going to be infinitely easier, right? I do a couple of swaps to Serenade, only because like when Serenade crits in pet form, it does a crap ton of damage.
Yeah, one of the things I love about this game is there's so many.
Yeah, that one I was in the corner. I didn't know what to do.
Dead cells, you know, so many of the weapons feel distinctly different, and so many of the tactics feel different. Tactics in this case being things you do versus the color he's got.
Mid-air parries.
For example, I don't.
Not only just to do damage, but also to like keep both bosses in one spot. Like when you're surrounded by both of them, it's so nuts when you have like fire on one side, aura jumping on the other side. Like if they're both on each other, so much easier.
While you're packed, so
That's actually really cool. We keep the same thing for the giant.
the enemies that don't have a lot.
Loot was pretty correct that the cards have actually been very good on the giant.
Kind of a fun.
I know for a fact Star Fury will work, so I stuck with the Star Fury.
He's using networking here to just absolutely.
And my backpack is open, so technically I could have just backpacked the cards, then used the Star Fury in the fight.
Hands while he's not even fighting it, and that's a fantastic.
But like, as I said earlier, I oftentimes play this from a spectacle standpoint, and the spectacle would have been to carry both of them. You check to see the damage on the cards. If it's good, you keep it. If not, I take them out, then swap the Star Fury, then do what I would have done in the first place. Or you stick to your guns, leave no variance, and then play what you know is gonna work. If Magic Missile, if the cards worked, it would have been great. From a viewer standpoint, it would have been great, but I know I should not die with Star Fury. And because I died with Brutality, I couldn't experiment anymore. The days of experimentation were over.
I think
Cards.
the actual boss is the one that's.
Yo, lag?
That
Sheesh.
one is a nice.
What's going on with my game?
I think the actual boss is the one that's coming up.
It's like 5
Next
FPS.
time you use it, and so you have fire and you know, stone and root and burning and coal, you know, the frost effect. and
Scarecrow, I'm still using. This is where the cards probably was a little bit easier to play. Like, look at that. The missiles actually vanish. Okay. Here I can do the parries because we know that Scarecrow cannot be stunned.
Wow.
So Thunder Shield parry does a really good job here.
Yeah, the only catch with the test looks
The
good,
missile's
but you have to
fizzing,
go to
though.
the distillery and, well,
Yeah, the mushroom explosions are also really scary. They're dying to Tesla coil, and when enemies die, they leave exploding remains.
It's just crazy how
Like, I want to actually stop that from happening.
Wow.
So there, 99% guarantee I was gonna get hit
It's just
if
crazy
it didn't
how
die.
different this fight is compared to.
So I do the dodge roll, and I go into the boss because I want to actually do the damage. I guess, like, technically speaking, I could have just done slashes here and then time the dodge roll for when the sickles come out.
When you were running.
It's a little bit of a panic dodge roll. This parry, however, I have no idea if that's the right side to parry. And the reason I say that is because we know that on one side of Scarecrow, the parry's in the opposite direction. My hope is that this is the right way. Like, you always have to face to the right because you spawn in from the right. So the way how the sickles work, it's like always assuming that it's a right-sided parry. Because when you're on the opposite side of Scarecrow and the sickles are coming in from the right, you have to parry away. Crap, I might have to check this. This is why, if I were to experiment, I'm gonna die on the GDQ stage. I legit have no idea. You all think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy. I promise you, one of these parries is in the wrong direction. I think you always face to the right, no matter what. I did next to zero prep for that run. All I did was I hopped into my like 22 BC settings to make sure everything was turned off. And then from there, is it gonna be a successful run? It better. I might have to push the phase a little bit. Maybe I don't. Let's just hop in and see what happens. So we just have to wait for the sickles to go out. This is not the like boss rush version, but it should be the same no matter what. Dang. I think I actually did that too. These you can parry. And like, I thought about doing it, but again, you gotta go for consistency. So that one, I parry directly towards the sickle. So now we have to go to the right. Crap. So see that? The right side parry does not work. I'm gonna have to go to the... No, I'm gonna have to stay on that side and parry to the left. So the sickle's gonna be behind me. I'm gonna parry towards Scarecrow, which means the answer is probably you have to parry towards Scarecrow. No matter what. Yo, businessman, welcome, welcome. Big business. I should have given myself a little more stats for these mushrooms. See, now I parry the sickle. Why didn't you do the other one? You have to parry backwards every time, which is the left. That almost makes even less sense than you always have to face to the right. That's like a camera issue. It's almost like it's not going to that other one because it's off camera. You can't parry it backwards. I don't know. But the point is, you cannot do that kind of stuff on the stage. So that means I would have gotten hit. Because the parries are facing left. Let's swap it back. Anyway. That's how I got killed a few times. Yeah, and to be fair, I never reported it. I never reported it. My bad. We wouldn't even be talking about this right now if I reported it.
I mean, the brutal.
Oh, wow.
So that was a no-hit, which was great.
The Tesla.
And because we got the no-hit, we have the choice between these as our legendaries. The legendary Gold Digger does do like additional damage based on gold, and as you all know, like you barely have any money in boss rush in the first place. I would have to keep this 10k, not buy anything, and not do any rerolls to maybe get some extra damage. Right now it's only showing 59. I don't know if if I were to pick that up, would the number increase? Like, does it know I have $10,000 despite it being on the ground? Is it iffy when it's about to change directions too? You mean the trajectory? Like if it's going directly in one direction, you can parry it in that direction. But for the right side, where it's like going out and coming in, I parried it backward. So in that case, it would be the right side of Scarecrow. This side, as it goes out would mean you should parry it towards it. And then when it comes back in, you have to turn around and parry it backwards that way. Even that sounds terrible. Do I have contacts with the dev team? No, I don't. When I say report stuff, I just mean on Discord. There's an official Dead Cells Reddit Discord, and the devs are in that, and there was a bug submission area, which I think someone said actually got closed, like last week. I gotta double check that.
From are there legendary counters?
So yeah, anyway, that's what the pickaxe does. The Tainted Flask gives you, I think, a blue shield, but it only lasts for like 2 seconds. So it's like, I don't really care for it. If it blocks a hit, great, but chances are it won't be blocking anything. So at least we know that the Lacerating Aura can get self synergy, which I don't think I even do.
Which of course can be very.
Like I could have re-rolled that to try to dig out bleeding on it.
Always a good one.
This is a tough decision. So like I'm going to fight Final Phase Dracula. I think to myself that Hokuto Electric Whip is the absolute like killer build for that situation. However, that was a really good Bible.
Okay, going into a
40% extra damage Bible.
It'll be a small yellow number that'll appear in the
We swap out of Wings of the Crow, get Tesla Coil because I don't trust the Wings of the Crow while trying to do the platforming. Like I'm gonna have to deactivate it so I don't fall to my death. was about to say, is Tesla Coil working? DPS wise, not looking too hot, just to say that. The Hokuto is really not popping like I thought it would. Like, I can't see the yellow number because the bit rate. The yellow number is the Hokuto's damage. Sometimes it's just not even proccing. Probably because, like, dots on Dracula don't really stay for very long. Same thing with any bosses. You'll oftentimes find that, like, Blood Sword Bleed, for example, will just fall off. Now, this right here, this, especially once I lost Disengage, I actually thought this was going to be the end of the run. Right here. This is, like, purely RNG, where doing the platforming in Dead Cells, like, you're not supposed to get hit if you are actually climbing up a ledge. You're supposed to be invulnerable during those times, but you have to get to the ledge first. So, like, right here, this is a situation where I'm, like, rolling the dice. Am I gonna get to that ledge faster than that bomb comes down? Like, right here, this, I am absolutely sure I just lost the run. And the game gave it to me. But then they pay me back by making me get hit here. Interesting that you can't parry the meteor. Maybe it's because it's above your head. You can parry it with Armadillo Pack, I'm pretty sure. Huh. Yeah, I got hit by the meteor. And I parried the slam, which was on purpose. Is there a chance that I had to double parry?
You know,
That would be interesting.
wasn't half bad.
So yeah, damage is, in my opinion, 0 right now. And, like, I'm watching, oh my god. Yeah, no disengage at this point. It has poison on it. It's almost like I have 22 BC turned on, and the monster's HP is half, like 50% more. But I'm, like, pretty sure I turned it off. That was part of our tech check, was to make sure I had that crap turned off. Alright.
We can't stop you.
So that was the tactics setup. At this point, like, confidence, it's up there. However, survival does show me Nutcracker with Boyax, and here I think, okay, this is, like, legit. Boyax can turn into anything at this point, even, like, its own build. This stuff, not really important. First boss Concierge, very good for Boyax. Funny enough, the crits, like, if you look at the health bar up top, I do no damage. Like, on the single crit.
There it is. Beautiful.
And it's because there's no synergies here.
So are we just getting lucky here?
Survival is, like, one of the worst out there for getting synergies. Like, bleed. Who's gonna do bleed? I guess the ice grenade, maybe. Fire? No fire in here. Poison? None. Except maybe, like, poison on parry, at best.
It just is how it is.
So all of that, like, deal damage to poison, deal damage to burning oil, like, that doesn't exist half the time.
Out a little bit with getting these guys. Although, once again, not to understate the challenge of this fight. This is a difficult fight. Just because there's so much overlap in the movesets. V is playing very well here.
Half the time I have to cancel my attacks.
I'm doing, because they're doing things that are not carryable and require jumps, for example.
Oh. Sometimes you roll between both of them and don't get to the opposite side and you take a hit that way.
Like I can't dodge roll a little split. Splatoon.
I take another mistake here, another L.
So
I picked up
for the third Splatoon game is
Rebound Stone.
where you go
Rebound Stone ricochets off of the walls and the ceiling.
battling for.
Come to find out, Mama Tick's Arena
Haven't played it.
has no ceiling to it. Who would have thought?
That's funny.
So when I use it, this thing's gonna go off to Mars like Elon.
With the shield
It doesn't come back.
he's going to be able to make use of that, especially because when Monotic hits,
So like now my damage is even worse because I'm -1 skill.
it can be really valuable.
Not a deal breaker. Like I still am pretty confident in my ability to fight Mama Tick in general. But like that's a detail that, and then we get this again. That's a detail that like can cost you the run.
One of the things that I really like
We know for a fact Scarecrow and Giant do not have ceilings. So Rebound Stone has to go.
so you had it right there, and you can roll through enemies and you can root them.
Baseball Bat shows up, and I'm thinking to myself, all right. Baseball Bat's not gonna do anything against the Giant. It's gonna have to be just the Wolf Trap Poison and then parries. That's all my damage.
Stun or freeze.
I go down, I see the Wolf Trap.
and those things
I'm like, okay,
can be
hang on.
really effective.
Swap it in. But then here I get a little greedy. Because I'm like, all right, can I get something to replace the cluster grenade, which is not going to kill the Giant?
So,
I'm like, okay, Maria's cat will hit the fist. We can go into tiger form. We can hit the fist that way. Buy it. And then all of a sudden, I look at my money. And I realize I don't have enough money for Baseball Bat.
But it's the one that makes your move speed faster.
And like, that's streamer tilt right there. That is me holding back from like slamming down on my keyboard. How could I? That would have been like, oh, especially for like a GDQ crowd to show Baseball Bat. My God, that would have been so nice.
Damage output is just
I swapped to R&B. I know that R&B works here. Force yourself to play survival builds is a way to improve. Well, yeah, we have to do brutality, then tactics, then survival. That was the whole goal for this run. I will be eating hits here just to be able to get my strums off.
He's using one of the different
This is also like a cool weapon to have
really high skill ceiling.
in like a showcase of this sort.
You use it in a rhythmic way.
We don't really get a chance to show it off until the Giant though. And even then, under the pressure, I still screw up the strums. Like, I have done this right here that you all are seeing. I have done this so many times that for me to fail the strum actually took me by surprise. Execution errors. So this sucks. If I was over by like half an inch, I could probably break that other fist. I had to stop because I wasn't hitting it. Do some parries, break that. I don't jump up here because there's no need to. I'm actually aiming for the other fist because once this eyeball is done, I'm gonna be able to kill the fist, but I lose the combo. I lose the strum. This is the position you want because like you hit both, but instant phase change. I'm actually surprised. Have to cancel that. Shaking my head. SMH in my head right now. Gotta jump off the arena because we don't know if we're gonna get hit by both fists. Lose the strum. Lose it again. Oh my God. I can't.
You don't want to.
Still thundering outside, by the way. So the last one is gonna be the Queen. For Queen, I need some kind of melee weapon to pair with my boy axe. And this is gonna be like some of the worst RNG. I should have actually considered that broadsword.
This is Queen.
I don't know if I've seen
Baseball Bat would be nice.
You don't want to.
Symmetrical Lance would be nice. I guess in hindsight, Death Scythe would have been good with Wolf Trap, because the Wolf Trap is going to be proccing on that Toxic Cloud. But to me, I'm really like, where's the baseball bat? I'm now thinking baseball bat has to show up, right? There's only so many items in the game. Symmetrical Lance, too slow. Toothpick, definitely not gonna do. So then, okay, if I'm not gonna get the baseball bat, I may as well do Nutcracker here with the Wolf Trap. I go to see if there's anything better than Maria's cat. We swap out for Sickle. I change out the Wolf Trap for the cards because we have Boyax. You would think Boyax with Nutcracker gotta be sick, right? And then we have to roll for like bonus damage to lightning. The lightning's gonna come from the cards. There we go. All right. So this one, it's a little tough. I have Extendo heal, so I'll be able to get myself to full HP pretty easily. So this thing has Root. Let's see how many crits I get off. 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 4 was a crit. Even though she's snared, none of those crit. Snared, no crits anymore. I think that's something that's been in the Queen ever since she was first added. Scarecrow does this too. I want to say Timekeeper does it too. Grabbing my Boyax. And then at this point, short of me putting on my shield, I can't actually do anything here. This is all Sickle and orbs doing damage. Like, I can't even participate. She's jumping on other sides of me. 1 crit, 2 crits.
It's got this phantom slash that occurs every time you do
3
damage to an
crits,
enemy.
no more crits. Like, what is
A
that?
bunch of enemies in a row, so it can be a really, really fun weapon to use.
And at this point, like, the tiltation's coming out, but I gotta suppress it, you know?
So the line across the screen that you all are seeing, in the normal Queen fight, it only happens here. She's doing them as normal.
Don't ask me why I do it that way.
How she
Stutter step it. It's for me. That almost looked like she grabbed my Sickle. I know someone in the chat said she could grab the Sickle, but
It's not how she normally works.
I didn't believe it. I have 1 Sickle. No. Yes?
What did she grab?
I still don't know. Maybe she did go for the Sickle, but then it
I
disappeared.
could have sworn she grabbed one of the balls.
Find the safe spot. Of course, I didn't have to play it like that.
Wow.
I get hit again. I'm gonna chug for good measure. I didn't have to because I was gonna heal the full anyway. Off the Extendo heal. No crits.
Crits, by the way. During Root Grenade, Boyax, I hope you see that.
That is really weird.
That
Not
didn't
sure what's
kill
going
him.
on there.
And I tried to get the win with the lightning.
The finish.
Oh well.
Alright, GG. You call time here?
Robbed.
Yeah, I say time.
Whenever you want.
Do time!
That is 45 minutes. That's kind of what we.
Time!
Yo, so that was the run. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I definitely would have to have someone with me because I can't just commentate that on my own. I got Giga Focus. Would I do anything besides Boss Rush? If someone asked me to do like Fresh File or something, I would do it. It won't be world record worthy. But if they just needed someone to do a run for like a speed run segment, yeah, I would do it.
Thousands of hours of effort
So yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. Big thanks to those who tuned in to see it. If you didn't and you're seeing it for the first time, thank you for watching it. I'll probably try to have this up on YouTube in the next, like, what, maybe in the next week. We have to get it from the GDQ folks and then toss it up. So yeah, that's our Dead Cells segment. And of course, this is because Dead Cells is doing their last update. We just finished 22 BC, so all of those runs are done. I have to decide, am I even gonna do 23 BC or do we like call it at 22? I'm working on Dead Cells tier list. I'm almost done with it. I just did a little bit today. All of Immortalis is done. So, for lack of a better thing to say, I am almost out of Dead Cells content. Is that weird? Like, I can't really, and I can whiteboard it, like we can come up with something. But right now, I am like actually very low on stuff that I still need to do. So yeah, that's done. What else? Like I said, we have the vids that will be up. Maybe this week, maybe not. New era approaching, new arc. There are some games coming up. Raven's Watch isn't until the 26th, so it won't be a while before we can do that. Yeah, 26th. I don't know if there's any, like, oh wait, the Hades 2 thing might be happening soon. Their, like, major content update. So of course we'll be on that. Time for a new game? We just need whatever that game is. Popular upcoming. So like you can scroll through these, but there's not really a big name title. Linked was something that was shown at Gamescom, but that's probably far away, October. LC is on the 10th. Gunfire is in October, I think? I don't know. I feel like it's not September. October would still be Q3, right? No, that's Q4. So maybe it will be in September. So yeah, we're gonna have to figure it out. Did I do Gungeon? So there is an idea that I had where we take this time to go back and finish off games that I never finished. So Gungeon, Noita, Isaac. And it would be like us trying to get through those games as quickly as possible so we can just have them in our belt. LC might be the one for you. I'm excited. Between that and 30XX, these like Mega Man style roguelikes are actually pretty good. Noita would be crazy. If people are interested in that, again, I don't want to say that we're done with Dead Cells. It's just that I am out of stuff to do. Check out Hadley's Run, released today. Roguelite. Roguelite. That's us. Is it faster than light? Stranded in a distant galaxy. Is it Survivors? Hunted, a relentless enemy. FTL? Make new aliens. Monka? Wait, what? How are we making these aliens exactly? I saw Romulus. I didn't see Romulus. Upgrade your ship. Death is not the end. Roguelite, by the way. Combat looks pretty exciting. Sorry, we have like 2 things of music going. That was like a duck. Okay. New V try me? We don't see enough bullet hells on the V.me channel. That gets a wish list out of me. Okay. So yeah, like I said, part of my idea, it doesn't have to be like new arc, but just like let's bang through these classic roguelikes that I never finished. What would I prefer to start with though? Let's take a look at our hours maybe. Does it actually tell me how many hours we have in each one? Okay, so sort by playtime. Why is Lethal Company at the top? It doesn't make a lot of sense. You all look at this. Laugh at my games. Go ahead, laugh. I don't care. Isaac, 110 hours. I don't know if Dead God is exactly what I would want to do to like finish Isaac. That seems like a little bit too much work. So I have to figure out like what would I consider being done with Isaac. So Isaac 110. Rogue Legacy 2 is probably not a good stream game. Gungeon, 40 hours. All achievements in Gungeon. I wonder how quick that is. Because if it doesn't take very long, maybe that is something that I could consider. Isaac's closer though, so maybe I would start with Isaac. Noita's gotta be way at the bottom of the list. I think I have to look at my own stuff. Because I can't search, right? Lag? How long? How long the? Ha. No way. Well, I won't say it won't happen. Sheesh. 158 hours for completionist? Like, I don't even know if I like Gungeon all that much. We gotta figure out what does it mean to be done with Gungeon. Main story. What does main story mean? Just true ending? Which is like kill whatever in the past? For those who know, does Noita have a true ending? Isaac. Maybe I'll ask someone. Like, what? I'll ask Alexa or something. What would he consider being like done with Isaac? That's not Dead God. It might be like win on all characters. Bagante, isn't that just freaking Noita again? Airless and I grit our teeth through these 8 hours. This was not 8 hours of fun that we had. That was torture. Then again, that was like early access day 1. Perhaps now that the game's in 1.0, it might be like interesting. The game took a while to get into 1.0. Very positive. I'd rather play Terraria if I'm gonna play Vagante. To me, Vagante is just Terraria without... I'm not gonna be toxic. All I'm gonna say is I don't like it. Did I ever get true ending in 30XX? No. Is that what I need to do? Just... we need true endings in every game. I only have 13 hours in 30XX. Get all 22 endings in Binding of Isaac. I was gonna say Isaac. I'm gonna just ask Alexa. He might be awake. I'm gonna ask him right now. Alexa. Hey Alexa, without doing Dead God, what would you say can be called I completed Isaac? I trust Alexa. Imagine Brotato. I don't think I've played Brotato in 1.0. Last played 2022. Interesting. Oh my god, I have not played this game in 1.0. Is that bad? V, you got some work to do? We've had this conversation before. I can pull it up this way. Might take a little bit to load. So if we hop over to twitchtracker.com, that shows you how much of certain games you have played in my... since 2016. 43% of all of my stream time distribution was dedicated to Dead Cells. 43%. 3% Hades 1 at 168 hours. That means the other 2,000 hours is just stuff. Just stuff. Elden Ring is in there, Skull, Rogue Legacy, Dark Souls, Curse of Dead Gods, Ashes Ascent, Isaac, Have a Nice Death, Lies of P. Good game, by the way. It should have been 99%? No way. Then I'd never know anything about any game. Like, at that point, you all would be asking me... No, not even that. At that point, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, my own gameplay was so shallow in Dead Cells. Like, you would think it'd be the opposite. Like, you have so much time invested in one game, obviously you must be, like, super good at it. But I think when you divest into other games, those skills translate back into your main game. You could be like a fighting game player. Yeah, you might be playing Street Fighter, like, every day for life. But if you just dabble a little bit into Marvel vs. Capcom, or a little bit into Tekken 8, I think those skills... I know it's different fighting systems, but I think the skills come back into your main game. It's like reactions. Now you're able to react to other kinds of things. What you say is true. B, go play some fighting games. I didn't. I opened 2XKO. What did I do? I checked to see if there was a mission mode, like a combo mode, and then I turned it off. everything in life is transferable to an extent. Yeah, this 43% has transferred a lot into my own life. And now we have to think about, you know, what can we do to like help this gap out? In the last year, we'll just go. Dang, we're still at 30% in 2023. If we look at just 2024, we're down to 17% thanks to Hades 2 and a little bit of Elden Ring. So like ideally, I wouldn't mind if the graph looked like this. 40% other. 80 games? Are there even 80 games? What 80 games exist? Are those all VeeTryMe's? Supermarket together. It's like everything that's 2 hours or less. I don't think we want to replace Dead Cells with a specific game unless it becomes Hades 2. I just want to maybe go back and finish things that we didn't finish. So we already said Gungeon, Isaac, Noita. That's at the top of my list. And then we'll have like the VeeTryMe's and stuff in between then. I don't know. I think it might actually work out in our favor. However, it's based on these, not these, based on how long to win. It might take some time. Especially if we get completionist. All right. Either way, like I'm still pretty energized. I have YouTube stuff that we're still doing pretty much every single week. Always want to thank you all for tuning in to whatever we end up doing. Right now, I'm surprised we didn't lose power. We're gonna next game it over to some Path of Exile, but we can still talk about all the Dead Cells stuff. Gungeon is 10 out of 10. Razel, what would you call being done with Gungeon? Tiny Rogues, they just did a massive overhaul. I have not played Tiny Rogues in a fair bit either. Last played June 14th, is that what I saw? So they did an update pretty recently. Saw the GDQ stuff yesterday, great job. Thank you, Ford, I appreciate that. Yeah, this, honestly, I'd love to wait until this is in 1.0, but I think the dev who really likes their game and probably really enjoys updating it, I have a strong feeling this will not be in 1.0 for a while. Not because like they're dragging their feet or anything, it's just that they like to update their game. So like at what point is it done? And you can just go into 1.0. Sorry, just gonna change the title and the game. You could touch it once the next big update comes out. I thought it did come out. Am I wrong? August 7. That's gotta be the major overhaul, right? Yeah, the clean update. where they added like all the different character abilities, and then a bunch of systems changes, a bunch of terminology cleanup. That's out, right? I think it's a great game. I think it takes a little while to convince the viewer that it's good. I feel like Tiny Rogues looks best like right after the first boss. It's like you need a couple of things to make the roguelike start, and then it looks like fantastic. If you're like in the very beginning stages where it's really just you firing, like it looks like Pac-Man in the very, very beginning of the game, I think that's when it looks worse from a viewer standpoint. As the player, like, it's great, like, because you're just building up that moment in the game to becoming like something truly good. And unfortunately, I don't know what, I'm sure the dev doesn't care about what it looks like from a viewer standpoint. All they care about is it fun to play? Which is probably the right mentality. Tiny Rogues is pretty done for now. The next big content update would be a DLC expansion, but it's not anytime soon. But the game's still early access, though. Like, they have to go into 1.0 at some point. And I just feel like the dev has too much they want to do before it hits 1.0. Dead Cells becomes addicting after the first BC? Yeah, maybe that's a good way to describe it. Where it's like, okay, Dead Cells 0 BC, like maybe that doesn't look all that great. And then once you start like getting into the later areas, then yeah, it seems much, much better. Your goal is to pretty much break the game. I had a conversation with Loot or Die, and Loot was a little bit unsure. Actually, are these different? Loot was a little unsure about, like, is it fun? So in Dead Cells, like, you have your weapon. The weapon might have some affixes to it, and that's like it. There's not really much more to think about besides mutations. There's not all of these interactions between every little thing in the game. However, of course, in a lot of recent roguelikes, Tiny Rogues, Warm Snow, even Astral Ascent, you gotta think about all these interactions between everything. And it's hard to tell, like, which one do you prefer? I'd almost leave that up to, like, a poll to my YouTube audience or the Twitch chat. Like, do you prefer having a weapon? Because Rogue Legacy does this too, and that's what really Dead Cells is built off of. You have a weapon, and then you kinda just play the game, and the game is randomized. Compared to Tiny Rogues and all these other games, where you have a weapon, but in reality, what you're really doing is trying to make all of these interactions happen. See DPS? Can someone confirm if Dead Cells 35 is on Xbox yet? No, it is not. And it's because of approvals. For those who don't know, you need to get approvals. This seems loud. You prefer Dead Cells way? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my audience prefers the Dead Cells way more than anything else. There's not one that's wrong. It just feels as though, like, a lot of recent games are adding rather than subtracting. It's like, oh, we want this system to have, like, all of these moving parts to it. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't care for that. Figure you'd miss it? Yeah, I get comments every single day on YouTube asking V when's the update. I'm on Xbox, by the way. All I can do is wait for Motion Twin to announce it on Twitter. Same can be said about the mutations in Dead Cells. You want to take the ones that synergize with their items and vice versa. Yeah, like that does happen, but a lot of games nowadays take it to like a whole nother level. So let's take open wounds, for example. Open wounds and bleeding. In Dead Cells, it's very simple. You have one weapon. The weapon might do bonus damage to bleeding targets. From there, you might have like Staffy, who once like hit a bleeding enemy and then it'll digivolve after hitting enough. But in reality, that's it. Like, that's as far as the rabbit hole goes, right? In roguelikes nowadays, take Tiny Rogues for example. You have bleeding. You deal bonus damage to bleeding enemies. If an enemy is bleeding, they might spread bleeding to other targets, which is fine. Bleeding, if it's like for every monster that's bleeding, increase your attack speed by 10%. Okay, it's still relatively simple. All of your companions do critical hits if they attack a bleeding target. Same thing as Dead Cells, that's okay. Companions will multiply themselves based on the number of targets on the screen that are also bleeding. And then it goes on like more and more from there. Your character might have something based on bleeding. Like every time you added bleeding to an enemy, gain 1% permanent HP. Or 1% max damage or something like that. Games like Warm Snow, not Into the Gungeon, Gunfire Reborn, they'll have a full novel to read, which is your abilities. And like, you really want to make interactions between those. All that sub-content can be so tough when you're just trying to survive the game itself. And I feel like that's where YouTube comes in. I don't know why I couldn't blink out of that. I went to YouTube, and that's where I found out how to make the builds correctly. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Streamer. If it wasn't for you, I would have stopped playing this game a long time ago, because I didn't understand 50 lines of text for one item. That's why build content goes hard. I don't remember what this does. In some games, it's easier to do it than others. So, like, Gunfire Reborn, and what's the other game we did? Wow, why is she bodying me like this? Level 80? Can't be that bad. We did Blaze Blue. And I did one Gunfire Reborn guide, which is around the idea of, hey, this stuff is so complicated. Check out my vid where I try to explain everything in terms of 5th grader could figure out. And I do actually enjoy that kind of stuff. It requires a lot of hours out of me. So, like, not only do I need to record all of that footage to make my cases, but then I also have to be correct. I can't just make it up. I wish I could just make it up. In fact, a lot of my time, when it comes to, like, making a YouTube vid, especially a guide, is just me trying to actually get the footage. So even, I'm doing all items tier list right now. There's a lot of items in Dead Cells, for those who have no idea. So like I want to get the footage for every item as I talk about it. Ow. So even, let's say it's like 150 items in Dead Cells, at 10 seconds a piece, you're already looking at, well, it's kind of hard to just say everything about one item in only 10 seconds. Like, even just saying that, it doesn't feel like enough time. Just don't want to get hit by this stuff. Gotten into Division 2. Their roguelike game? Oh, I have no mana. Why do I not have mana? Shoot, I'm about to try out that Splatoon roguelike. Was I using clarity? Oh my god. Yeah, Division 2 is on my list of games that have random roguelike modes that you would never expect. It's up there. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to try The Last of Us 2's roguelike mode. I've watched a couple of streamers do it, and it doesn't look all that bad.
It's your chance to bring back anyone you've ever loved.
Like, it's almost like how Resident Evil 3 came out with Resident Evil Resistance as a PvP mode. Resistance was actually really good. So my hope is that, like, yeah, I don't want to play the Last of Us 2, but maybe I want to do the roguelike mode.
That would only slow me down.
Probably not gonna see play. That's my inventory freaking jacked. Alright. Looter shooter RPG nonsense. I wonder if Destiny could have done a roguelike mode. I feel like because that game has abilities in it, I assume Division does not have abilities, right? It's all just gunplay? I might be wrong. I think that could have been a really interesting thing to have in Destiny, assuming they don't already have it. Destiny does? Really? Do you know the name of it? I know Warframe does, and I actually did try Warframe's roguelike. Paradox something? Stanley's Paradox. It's fun. I just couldn't figure out, like, am I making the right decisions or not?
Blessings.
Division 2 does have item abilities. Oh. Really? I thought for sure it was just gunplay.
Blessings.
Wow, TIL. This is... I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm not gonna play this. It's gonna get sold. The guns have passives. There's a lot of stuff in Division. Yeah, I remember people actually being, like, decently into the game. However, I don't know what Division players are playing today. Like, are they playing Tarkov? Probably not, right? Are they playing Destiny? Isn't Destiny over? I keep saying that, and I'm pretty sure every time I say that, someone tells me, V, I'm literally playing Destiny's new update right now. Destiny will never die. Division players are still playing it and waiting for Division 3. Is that Ubisoft? They did Watch Dogs, right? I wonder what the player base difference is between Watch Dogs 2 and Division 2.
Greetings.
I feel like those games are kind of like within the same niche. I'm probably super wrong. And probably exactly why there's no Division 3 right now is because of gamers like me who know nothing about Division and are just spouting lies every single day. That's a real thing. Watch Dogs is more of a story game. You play it and then you're done. Is it supposed to have like a full GTA setup where you can kind of just do anything at any time? Or maybe more like Spider-Man, where it's like open world and there's always a crime or something happening. Like, yeah, Spider-Man has solo stuff, like a solo campaign that you just finish and then that's it. But technically you could keep solving crimes. Yeah, close to the Spider-Man. Yeah. I don't know what this is. Oh, wow. 5 divines on 1 card? Is that a thing? I still haven't finished Spider-Man PS4. I still have Miles Morales unopened. I'm like so bad. And now we're talking about bringing in Isaac, Gungeon, and Noita. Division 2 could give you 400 hours of content. I'd only do the roguelike mode. Not to say that any of these games don't have like good gameplay to it. I'm only interested in seeing what the roguelike mode is. Which is funny because like that's never been a thing for me until like I started content. But now that's all I ever really want to do. We gotta do that Tiny's trial behind me. Massive just got Avatar and Star Wars off their plate, and now they're gearing up for Division 3. Star Wars just came out. Chat, is Star Wars Outlaws out yet? These are really bad. If I get a hashtag ad for Star Wars Outlaws, I will play it. Just to say that. I don't want you all to be surprised. I haven't done the roguelike mode yet. Been too busy farming and optimizing. What I really don't want to do in any of these, like, here's a roguelike game in our already existing universe, is like, I don't want to have to do non-roguelike mode stuff. And I feel like maybe... I feel like maybe Warframe is the best one at that right now. Even this game right here, they had a season which was technically roguelike features, but what it really was is like this event that I just did with a boss. There's one single event that has roguelike features to it, but like in the end, it's really just another dungeon for your own character. It's not really the flip side where it's like, here's a game mode for you to play, roguelike features, knock yourself out. Instead, it's like, okay, here's your character that you're playing as normally. take it into a roguelike and see what you can do there. Yo, Cincy, good to see you. Either get into this game low-key, I dare say wait for Path of Exile 2. It's almost like Elden Ring versus Dark Souls 1. Like, it's a good game. Like, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, award-winning games. Fantastic. But for a new player to play the older ones before, like, the most fine-tuned one, I think is the right move. Yeah, we changed the game and title, right? Yeah, I changed it to Path of Exile. We're not talking about Path of Exile until now. All we've been talking about is roguelike games. I don't know what to do my Tiny's trial on. Just a little preface. It's like to give you all an idea as to why I'm even doing Path of Exile right now. We always try to do... I shouldn't trials this item. Yeah, so I always like to turn on Path of Exile for one stream, and that's it. That's all I want to do. So right now, we're doing that one stream where my hope is that I can plead my case as to why I still consider myself a new player in this game. And it's an excellent way for chat to backseat me and then catch me up to where I should be. Playing the same build? This is Warden, though. I think you're playing a more popular character than I am. I'm the weird person who plays 2s before the 1s of most games, looking at... Where's this Tiny's trial? Looking at Sonic 2? I think that's not a bad way to go about it. Specifically because sometimes those sequels... Take like Sonic Adventure 1 versus Sonic Adventure 2. If I were to tell someone, like, okay, you can only play one, which one is it gonna be? I'd probably tell them Sonic Adventure 2. Not that one is bad, but more so, like, if I'm gonna get that time from you, I'd rather use that time most effectively. So, for Path of Exile 1 versus 2, I feel like you'd sooner uninstall Path of Exile 1 than Path of Exile 2. And that's not us knowing anything about the game, really. I hate doing these. Like, what, they want me to annul? And then exalt this thing a bunch of times? Until I hit good life? But it's like, it's so bad. I guess technically I don't have to hit life. That's like something. But we didn't get... Jeez, we need more. I hate doing these. Like, I've tried to watch streamers do it, and they hit so much on a Tiny's trial, and for me, it's like, okay, I'm gonna roll bad stuff 50 times, and then I'll have 5 seconds left to decide what I want to do with it. It's like I didn't even get to the point where it looked good in the first place. You don't think the best players in the world do it? They sure do have YouTube vids about it. Is that the secret sauce? You find the worst content that no one does. You farm it until you can get something that looks YouTube worthy, and then you toss exactly that up. You never actually do it in like your normal gameplay. It's almost like the same thing in Dead Cells. Here's a run that, like, for what it's worth, I will never do this, but we'll put it up on the channel and make it look like I've been doing it the whole time. They'll never know. No, I don't do stuff like that. I try my best to at least make a good argument for it rather than hear something that I actively choose not to do.
What you need?
But yeah, like I said, Path of Exile 1, my current characters, which are both not at true endgame, they're getting there. Right now, I'm working on this girl right here. She is known as an elementalist. She wants to just burn stuff. And it works. It's a little bit clunky. And I gotta level up too. So like I would at least like to get to level 90 before I consider like, is this character a failure or not? I think right now she can do tier 11. Then max is 17, but 11 is like nowhere near max. Like this is still what I would call not end game. I can do this on 11s? How many void stones? 0. I haven't even gotten to tier 16 yet. Be as a roguelike player yourself that has played Elden Ring, would you recommend playing it? I'm asking because I'm trying to find something that's really good to play. The problem is I don't like games where you die 300 times to a single boss and everyone says Elden Ring's a 10 out of 10. Yeah, Elden Ring is a game where you die 300 times to one boss. Is that an avoidable kind of gameplay? I don't think it is. Even if you think about like get good and stuff like that, I think it's a mentality standpoint where you have to be fully okay with being stuck on a boss for potentially hours. Now, would I recommend that as a roguelike player? See, I'd like to. I think in general, it's actually an extremely good game for roguelike players. But really, I guess I didn't use the health pot. I think I died to Invasion just then. Really, where I put Elden Ring is it's also a basis on like how much are you willing to do the game's systems. You could not do a lot of stuff in Elden Ring and still like win eventually, but like you need to level up gear. In some cases, some people might consider you might want to consult a wiki to understand how different... Are you all resistant? To understand how different stats work. So maybe like that level of investment isn't for everyone. If you were to just play Elden Ring with 0 information to go off of, you might be able to do okay. Kind of depends on how much dedication you want to put towards it. I think it's a game that might request some dedication. Final DLC boss took you 4 hours, but you enjoyed all minutes of the 4 hours. It was what, 200 something deaths for me? Am I not able to do this tier 11? Like, did I brick it already? They have a bunch of energy shield, and that's really it. Just more rare monsters. Really should not be an issue. I enjoyed every minute of Elden Ring. I think I could say that with confidence. But I was also streaming the game at the same time. And then when I turned the game off, like, for streaming it, I did find myself wanting to, like, go in the game and do some normal content that doesn't require to be online. So again, I think I still would like to recommend it. So long as the player is okay with that kind of dedication to dying. I think Black Myth Wukong might be the opposite of that. I think people have said that it's more like a boss rush. looks like you probably won't have 300 hours on a couple of bosses. Like, the game's kind of designed for you to go through a lot of bosses and a lot of content. Crap, I already forgot which one I want to kill. Wow, we never get 2 of these. I would still recommend it over Dark Souls. Like, if the question was, well, okay, V, Dark Souls is on sale. Okay, maybe if it's on sale, I'd say get Dark Souls. V, I want to get into a Souls-like for the first time. I can get Elden Ring, but should I? I think I would say yes.
Good job.
Liza P is also a very good one, but I think I would say Liza P might be... Is it harder than Elden Ring? Speedy, would you, or anyone else who played Liza P, would you consider it harder than Elden Ring? I personally would say Liza P is more immersive than Elden Ring. Like, I wanted to see Liza P through completion more than Elden Ring. That's not to say Elden Ring has a bad story, it's just Liza P hit me where I needed it. It's like when you're at the party and you're like kind of a wallflower, you don't really want to participate all that much, but then someone brings over your favorite adult beverage and now you're the life of the party. That's what I needed in Liza P. Consort was 8 hours for you. I think we were 3 days, like 2 hours a day, so probably like 6 hours. If I were to hazard a guess. Melania way harder than Laxasia. Alright, I guess, like, to be fair, Melania is like a pretty difficult enemy. Just to say that out loud. But like, does everyone who plays Elden Ring fight Melania? Everyone has to fight Laxasia. Melania is optional content. Bruh.
There's only one. Bye-bye. You killed someone. This'll make the bad thoughts go.
5%? Must be a low roll. All of those are way harder than Liza P bosses. For our Lu, maybe. Duo, yeah, I could see that. Fire Giant, I don't know what happened with Fire Giant to me. I did not struggle on Fire Giant.
Ah, there you are. Ready to revisit the past? The more you kill,
Something about like fighting giant monster that can only really do so much. And to be fair, Fire Giant could do an awful lot for how big it was. I'm not doing chest of stuff. I want monsters. For some reason my R didn't come out. Melania too iconic to not try as a new player. I feel like she's off the beaten path too. Like, you almost have to know what you're doing to A, get to Melania, and B, consider doing the fight rather than just skipping it. Oh no. Where's the door? Oh. Oh, it's the last one. Crap. That sucks. Alright, it's fine. Does Elden Ring feel unfair? Dying a lot is fine as long as I'm making progress, but I hate dying like after a second, getting one-shotted. I think most Elden Ring fights you shouldn't get one-shotted. The only reason why you would be one-shotted is if you are playing a build and you put no points in health. A funny way to think about it, Elden Ring's difficulty is almost directly proportional to how much points you put in health. There's like a bunch of other things in the game that are soft difficulty modifiers, such as being able to summon pets or summon other players from other worlds. Like, all of those are technically difficulty modifiers, but I dare say Vigor as a stat that has almost no cap to it is the true difficulty modifier. Like, of course, you do want damage, or else, like, the monsters are gonna take forever to die. But you really should not get one tap. Unless you're, like, cool black dude or something, and you're doing one big, or Dan Giesling, and you're playing one big. Big being Vigor, which is the health stat. Watch some videos for finding her and how to beat her. I didn't really consume a lot of Elden Ring vids. All I really looked at was Ongball doing no damage taken. A lot of the people do no damage taken, but like Ongball's no damage taken is almost theatrical, and I prefer that over other ways to do it. Not that the other ways are bad, it's just for entertaining me. I need the theatrics. What do you think about some of the players that think the only true game style is not using summons? So I didn't use summons. Okay, an asterisk on that. I summoned, I think, 2 times out of the 100 something bosses in Elden Ring, purely from like, I want to see what this summon does. Do I need to do the summon? No. I just wanted to see it. So with that out of the way, what do I think about other people playing Elden Ring? I don't have anything to think about how other people are doing it. But that's not the common thought process across the internet.
I really do.
So if you were to ask me, do I care if you used Mimic Tier in Elden Ring? No, I have no care at all. If you were to say, V, I finally finished Elden Ring, I breezed through it, the game was super easy, I also used Mimic Tier, I still wouldn't really call it into question as it being too easy, because Mimic Tier isn't the only piece of the puzzle there. Like, I could summon Mimic Tiers all day, and does that mean I get a free Melania clear? No, it doesn't. Like, you have to actually do the game still. I think the only thing that I ever had that was like a free clear was Dark Souls 3, and like, you all may be able to answer it better than I do. In Dark Souls 3, there's this demon you have to fight, and you can summon the Onion Knight, and the Onion Knight is like unkillable. That thing is, I don't know what he's eating, it ain't onions. That guy giga tanked the demon, and I just stood there and watched, and I got the dub. Mimic Tier is based on your own character, so it's like, I don't think, oh, there's a boss here I just ignored, because I don't ever do this content. People are beefing over it. People are beefing over the worst kind of stuff nowadays. But that's why, like, I can only really give my feelings towards it, and if other people want to say otherwise, then that's their prerogative. I can't say that they are wrong to think that summons are cheesy. There's people who legit think that using strength weapons where the boss gets staggered, that's cheesy. If the boss gets staggered and it's not fighting you, how is it not cheesy? There's people who will say using a shield in Elden Ring and parrying the boss is cheesing. Because, like, if you parry every boss's attack, then why even have a boss in the first place? Just go back to DDR. We might see a Path of Exile boss fight. I don't think this character or my other character could do that. I have a ruby flask. Just hoarding bases. Mana regen and some curse stuff. This is probably the worst part about being a new player, is that you decode these items, and every time you do it, it looks like it's bad. And then you hop on Zizaran's YouTube channel, and it'll be like, here's an item that has no stats to it, and it's worth 6 divines. I don't get it. I'm clearly playing the game wrong. Soulsborne gatekeepers gotta make up a bunch of rules for your favorite game. There's gatekeepers in a lot of popular games, like Hollow Knight, Noita, Terraria. I think she has her own. I'm sure Cuphead has it. Like, any game that has a difficulty to it where someone might die over and over again, there's a gatekeeper for that game. Teach my friend Path of Exile is her first league. She already has 2 Void Stones. Super proud. I feel like I have no hours in this league. I would not get Viridium or whatever the currency is and just turn the game off, frustrated. And I kind of did the same thing during Cataclysm? No, Speedy, what was the season that's the same like Viridium Ore where you hold down the button and then tendrils go out and they summon creatures and then you use that to level up your weapons? Crucible. That was also a season I didn't enjoy. So it's kind of funny that this season that has that same mechanic, I also struggled with. I assume you cannot evade anything this guy does. All right, chat, you're about to see me die. Enjoy yourselves. Wait, this is not what I thought it was. Oh. Huh. I don't know if I can do this. I'm gonna have to melt her. I ain't melting her. Oh, we have to be in red. Some people log out during this attack. It's like actually crazy. It's like the attack is so gnarly, I'd rather not even be in the game.
Deep space. Astral avalanche.
I can't tell where she is. That one's dead.
Deep space.
I swear they nerfed this fight. I used to die to this fight 50 times every season until I get like, not even OP, until I get actually like competitive, and then I can do it. I swear they nerfed this fight.
Web span. They are coming.
I don't think my other girl could do this. It's not nerfed?
Our strategist.
Really? I don't remember what I was doing here. Essences are done. Gotta go up in here. Okay, chat, for those who've never seen Path of Exile, that is a boss, but it's almost like the story mode version of that boss. There's, of course, a much harder version of it that I don't even know if I've seen in the amount of times I've played this game. 16,000 hours showing right now? Don't even remind me. I don't even want people to know I have that many hours in this game. That's how embarrassing that is.
Blessings.
It was a clean fight. I just swear there were times where I would just die to the Astral Avalanche. Even if I was like fully in the red portion. For those who don't know, it's almost like playing Final Fantasy 14. It's like an MMO fight. Cloak of Flame? No, this is my other girl. The last 2 seasons I've just been playing girls. girls. I've only been doing this until the season throws me this thing, and then I have to hop on my boy. So it's like, I'm trying to get these 2 girls. One does lightning... What's it called? One does lightning strike. The other girl does immortal blow of immolation, which has a 0.0% play rate. No one plays it. Thus, I have to play it. I play this game as almost like I would play Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh! You have what they call meta decks, and then you have what they call rogue decks. A meta deck is what you could take to a tournament, and you would expect to see 20 out of top 32. Like 75% of top 32 is all running the same deck. That's a meta deck. You might get some stragglers in there, which are like meta from previous patches, saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Has patches to it. Anything else that's not that is considered a rogue, almost like roguelike, a rogue deck. The odds of you winning the tournament, astronomically low. You have to be a very good pilot or bring out some tech that's never been seen before. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has lots of rogue decks to it. My inventory is just full of crap. And that's not to say that the decks are bad, it's just that as a business, Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes a lot of money making meta decks. It's almost like not worth their time and profits to make decks that are gonna underperform. They have to make ones that are going to overperform. No, I said that backwards. It's worth their time and money to make decks that are gonna underperform at the same time as making decks that overperform to maximize profits. And I say this as a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! For those who think of it like Pokemon or something like that, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon is actually in a good spot. Apparently, the last winning deck was only like $100 to get all the cards. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, $100 at best might get you a playset, so 3 copies of a staple. A staple would be a card that's used in any deck. So 3 Ash Blossoms might cost you $100. People used to joke saying that their deck was a gold brick. Like, sometimes you'd be afraid to let someone shuffle your deck because you might think they'll bend a card. That's how bad Yu-Gi-Oh! Got for pricing. I'm broke. Chat, this is the new patch. It's Animal Crossing in Path of Exile, except they want money. So I'm gonna give them $6,000 to mine ore. Or maybe it's more like Pow World. Not Animal Crossing. That'd be an insult. Is that due to Pokemon being extremely available with supply? Because you don't feel like you see Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards anywhere? I think it's rarity. So like a lot of the chase rares in Pokemon are almost from a collector standpoint. Like you don't play with your EX Dark Charizard. Like it's a collector item. Compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like they make rares that are the highest rarity of the entire box. There's 5 of them. So one of your box might have a secret rare in it, but it might be the bad secret rare. It might be the $10 secret rare. You're after the $60 one. So you just put in $60 to get a box. A box being like 16 booster packs. You might have put in the money to get a box, but then you get a $10 secret rare out of it. I don't know if Pokemon has that issue. Like, it's probably like, yeah, it's a $10 card, but it's not required for tournament play. It's not a staple for your deck.
Local.
Yo, we got stuff. I actually need this on this character. Wait, I need this too. Hold up, wait, we kind of popped off here.
Now what was the name?
I need all of these. Oh my god, I got so many runic arms. I don't even have the space. All right, I found space. I could be mistaken, there's also alternate art cards for the same Pokemon. Yeah, for the longest time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players wanted that. What they got instead was collector's tins and stuff like that. At some point, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did start reprinting popular cards. And to get them is like not quite guaranteed, but it's like a 1 in 6 shot from a $20 tin. In some cases, like some stuff was a guaranteed pull from a tin. Still, it's $20, so a little bit more expensive than a booster pack. But at least you can get chase rares from previous sets. I keep wanting to call them patches. I don't know why. Yo, Gooseman, good to see you. Goose, I know you're a huge fan of Path of Exile. Probably one of the biggest fans in my chat right now. Just joined in. Thank you, Goose. I did actually used to play Pokemon competitively when it first came out. So like base set, jungle set, fossil set. I actually went to tournaments to play Pokemon. I was probably like 14 years old. From there, we got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Once I got into high school. Well, I guess I wasn't 14 then, was I? Either way, once I got into high school, we got into Yu-Gi-Oh! And at that point, Yu-Gi-Oh was like my game. Even my friends like probably couldn't stand playing with me. I was a little bit too meta focused in the early days. I didn't know how to have fun.
Local.
It's like you have that friend who's like such a sweat. All you want to do is have like a normal game of Fortnite. And here they are talking about like jetpack, jump tech, and like dropping the turret and then picking it up so it fires. Which is something I actually do when I play Fortnite. I'm sweating. The only game I don't sweat in is freaking Path of Exile, and then I wonder why I'm not doing very well. If you're not winning, are you truly having fun? Exactly. Except for Path of Exile, apparently. This Orichalcum? Actually, we need currency. I'm sure someone in chat knows how shipping works. And is cringing at what I'm doing right now. V, no, that's too much wheat. No, V, that's too much dust. Zalasin, good to see you. 300k from a map? You're union busting right now. Your pets, your POW man, are thinking they're getting a raise, but you got $300,000 in one day. You're making it seem like you're poor. You gotta give those folks a raise, Zalasin. Sheesh. Yeah, there's a few games that I sweat in. And like, I'm okay with sweating in most games. It's just that if I'm playing with other people, I do try to dial it back because I'd rather them like kind of do their thing and get their enjoyment out of it. And then I support. That's oftentimes like when I think about League of Legends, I think I found myself playing support because I was playing with buddies. How goes League? I haven't been on League in a long time. And really, like, half of that was because of Civilization 6 and Path of Exile. And now Final Fantasy 14. We're actually playing 14 again. Very limited supply of hours right now for me.
I need more mana. Life is short.
Am I missing a pet? No, I'm not. Might have to do that with Sparking Zero comes out and you go over to your friend's house. That game won't have any co-op capability, right? Oh, this sucks. I guess I can do like 1 point and chill here. I need the other towers to show up. Like, I shouldn't even put down a tower, really. Oh my god, this freaking guy. Why are you here?
Yeah,
Yes, I know. Okay, this one's better.
Then with words.
Like, we gotta giga stack these, but in like a respectable spot. Yeah, because now this one's here. Like, actually troll. There'll be split screen, but I assume it's just fighting games split screen. Could be wrong, though. Not a boss, right? Everything's fire resistant! Oh, this thing got Soul Eater. Uh-oh. Oh. I do believe that is going to reach our Nexus. Like, I'm not even gonna bother stopping it.
Those fiends are getting too close to my pop.
It's like, it's getting stronger anytime a monster dies around it, and monsters are just constantly dying.
Was that really necessary?
I don't know what I would do for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
I expect you will
Like, I think it could be fun to do the campaign, like going through each arc of Dragon Ball. I don't think I could find myself being a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero content creator, though. Like, sometimes we even talk about alternate realities, like what could V have done if he didn't get into roguelikes. And besides Sonic the Hedgehog, or like speedrunning Mirror's Edge or something. I don't think anime was my calling when it comes to video games. Like, now I can finally move. Felt like I was stuck. Can't wait for Borderlands 4? Now, as far as I understand, the Borderlands movie has still not gotten its money back. Could that be to say that the audience does not want more Borderlands? Or is it purely the movie that's the issue? Like, V, no one is even considering the movie when they're thinking about Borderlands. It's a movie only issue. That's what's up. Me and Airless do have Borderlands 3. We never finished it. Mostly because, like, too many games came out. I think that was around the time we were playing Dying Light, Dead Island. So, like, there's no time to put Borderlands 3 in there. We did play through all of 1 and 2, though. That's classic family game night. Borderlands movie so bad that the play rate for 2 spiked. Yeah, same thing happened for Fallout. That's weird, because the Fallout... Hang on. The Fallout show was actually good. People went and played Fallout 76, which was bad. And Fallout 4, which was like... It wasn't bad, it's just that it didn't get the same praise as 3 and New Vegas. Is that the tech? Is that the secret? If your game is bad, make a good show. If your game is good, make a bad show. I have negative attack speed for some reason. I'm not even hitting her because she's behind the wall. That's great.
He planned for this. He expected.
You bash well, X.
You think I didn't expect betrayal? My mute twin brothers and sisters.
I need her in here still. I need items from her.
I want to tell you. Thanks to your.
So Dead Cells, for example. Dead Cells has a great show and a great game, but the game is done. And Windblown will be coming out. So it's like, is that the strat? You make both a good game and a good show, and it's like, oh, by the way, we have a completely new IP on the horizon. Look at how much quality we have on our existing IPs. Just don't ask for existing IP. I don't know. I think it's genius. Yeah, I'm surprised there's no Diablo show. Oh, we saw Gamescom. Chat, there's gonna be a Sifu episode from that company that's gonna be doing that Amazon Prime series of like different shows. They're doing Warhammer, Sifu, and someone said they might be doing Armored Core 6. We don't know how many episodes. They could all be 1 episode each. I have no idea what they could do. Like, if it's like any form of Rusty content in Armored Core 6 in a show format? Oh my god. Chat, get your Amazon Prime ready. Also, you could subscribe for free on Twitch with Amazon Prime. You can double dip. I think I saw Warhammer in there. It's a couple of games that I didn't recognize. Please, just let me in.
I'm honored to serve such a noble cause.
Something's like zapping my mana. I'm running Clarity too, so I have mana regen.
No more prisoners.
Subscribe to free who? To free myself
to care.
from the 9 to 5. To be honest, we've actually, for those who don't know the full extent of the deep lore, we actually stopped working our 9 to 5 for a while now.
Speaking of Prime sub, I'll grab that 24 months. I've been away for too long.
No! Not a paid actor, by the way. Ward, congratulations. Enjoy yourself. That tick scythe. I know that's your favorite item in the game. Every time I talk to Forward, they're always talking about tick scythe. That's awesome. Thank you for that ongoing support. I do appreciate that. This 16 to 20 fire damage is for you. There you go. It's in the mail. But yeah, like Diablo, honestly, Diablo, if y'all have ever just watched the cinematics for Diablo 3, Diablo 4, and the 2 remaster, they have some cracked animations. Like at this point, I'd almost rather see Blizzard make a full production for Diablo rather than like a game. But that's toxic for me to say that, I'm sure. Ow! Lightning Totem. You only take 17 to 21? Funny enough, 14 to 16 is the max. It actually does not go up to 17. If I could get you more, I would, but it's actually not possible. You think I knew that before I did that bit? No, I didn't. At all. Armored Core 6 story trailer was awesome. Seeing an episode would be super sick. Yeah, I don't know if I want it to be 361. I don't want it to be your character. I think I'd rather it be something from Rubicon. Like either Rusty or what's her name? The engineer lady. Ow. Gotta get that Prime sub back now. There's no refunds on Prime. Even if you go to official Amazon, I don't think you can get a refund on Primes. I'm melting to poison. Like, the fire damage is not that bad, but poison is awful right now. And that requires chaos resistance. I have 1 chaos resistance. So that is a something to be solved at some point. Carla, yeah. I didn't want people to get confused about, of course, there's the quote-unquote lady that you talk to through the telekinetic connection. There's Carla the engineer. And I think that's really it. I guess some information on the corporations could be interesting too. Like to just try to think about, like as a good story point, here's a corporation who wants to like mine a planet. Let's get their side of the story. You know? That's a good story. I always love to hear about the corporation side of the story. Gotta give them a voice, you know? I need one more level. I feel like going above tier 12, tier 13 seems like a bit much. This is incomplete. Possessed. Let's swap. No, swap to level 2. 6 points. Could maybe just get some essence. It's fairly easy. And then I need delirium. But I don't want to do Unending Nightmare. Orbs cannot be found. Splinters cannot be found. Difficulty scaling. I don't think I can do the difficulty scaling. This is supposed to be instrumental tracks, by the way. Like, how is this an instrumental? It is literally not an instrumental. I'm done. Lore stuff is nice. It's like bad company does bad thing, but that leads them... Oh, what leads them to that decision? Yeah, I think it could be a really compelling piece that could maybe get people into Armored Core. Like, I assume Armored Core maybe doesn't have, like, the highest play base for FromSoft. However, there are folks that are still making YouTube vids and everything for Armored Core. I just watched one today. It was a tournament where people did only pre-made suits, pre-made ACs from the game. So, like, if you have a character, I think after you beat everything in the game, you can use their ACs as a blueprint. Wow, I'm laggy here. Very laggy. So it's a tournament where you just use whatever your favorite AC model is, which I think is actually a really cool way to do a tournament. Rather than trying to like min-max certain stuff. Opulent Ritual? Oh my god, look at the money! Chat, we're gonna be rich if I don't die here. My god, something just blew up. I think I died to detonate dead. Whoa. No final boss for that tourney? Oh, you can use that, right? Because it's all like those Rubicon AC parts. Yeah, I don't know if there were picks and bans. That'd be cool. I shouldn't have done that. Speedy, what does... So you get the Bismuth. Bismuth puts tornadoes and stuff on the map. But it says that enemies' elemental abilities are enhanced. What does that even mean? Because I feel like I'm going to go to the boss and I just brick the boss by hitting that button. Can't jump that? Buffs enemies, but they drop more loot? I feel like I don't believe that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I feel like the game is not gonna give me more loot. Is that the boss? It's possessed. Why is my R not coming out? I legit don't have the mana to cast Flammability. Bismuth is the best. I love when the best thing in games like this is to make enemies harder. It's like any detail that can make an enemy harder is what you should be opting into. We gotta figure out where we're taking issue here. We gotta get our block rate up. That's the issue. Chat, this is supposed to be a shield build. I'm sure you can clearly tell that. We are blocking at a clean 62% and 54%. That ain't enough. We need that as high as possible. I'm gonna pop this and die. New prediction. Can V clear one map without dying? Will he clear this map deathless? I should have read that. I don't even know what this thing does. Like, the different altars do different things. Like, frozen? There's a little bit of a lack of movement capability there. There was another DD, yeah, but I couldn't move out of it. That's what I mean by die to freeze. Then again, like, I don't think I have anti-freeze down here. So that's another thing I need to fix. No divine vessels yet. I've gotten 2. So I have 1 available. I didn't mean to do that. 1 is gonna go towards burning ground immunity. The other one, I think, went into block recovery. That might not be necessary. I think it's in block recovery right now, as a matter of fact. Monsters have greatly increased item rarity and quantity. Contains cursed coin showers. What in the world is a cursed coin shower? That? This lagged me so much. Oh, there's like nothing here. Interesting. I wonder why the boss isn't in here. I'm pretty sure the boss died on top of one of these.
Oh, this is divine.
6,000 tribute. Incredible. Oh, snap. I actually need this. Funny enough, I have not done all of this yet. I need to do this. I actually have none of these in my inventory. Where am I? Never before seen loot from a ritual. I think I'm spec'd into ritual on this page, where the idea is surely ritual gives you gold. Surely. No V's playing this game? Cat, do you play this? You gotta backseat me. You have to come in saying, V, you do 0 damage, and you can't survive any hits. That's how you backseat in Path of Exile. Do you give constructive feedback on how to solve those issues? No. The constructive feedback is do more damage and stop dying. Do more damage, take less damage. That's our feedback. Thank you, Path of Exile community. No, like, I have a vid that I posted called I have 1,000 hours in Path of Exile and I don't know what I'm doing. That's the basis of the video. And I got a surprising amount of positive feedback. And when I say positive feedback, I mean people legit actually had good ideas that solved my issue for that character. And I actually learned a lot. Like, I kind of like bring that character's fixes in whenever it's time for me to play this game. Am I doing any of that right now? No, I'm not. I don't want to touch this. It will place me in an everlasting loophole of grinding and being depressed. Same, except I touched it. Sheesh. I come from an MMO background, so this is very much in my wheelhouse of fight things for seemingly no reason, and then beg the game to give you even a smidge of something in return. I am very used to that. Now, a lot of modern MMOs don't have that anymore. They decided to opt out of that mentality. Players don't want to be on the treadmill, you know? Instead, they think of MMOs as an amusement park. It's like you're going to Six Flags or Busch Gardens. You have a bunch of rides you can go on. The only thing required to get on the ride is you have to be this tall, and you need a ticket. Sometimes you have to wait in line. And that's really it. I'm gonna defer this, but I'm never gonna be able to unlock this. It's way too much. I need Regals. And I need these too. Yeah, I could have re-rolled, but as a new player, I need currency. That video was 50-50 for positive and toxic? No, not at all. Like, yeah, I might have shown a lot of toxic comments, but in reality, it's like selective biases. In reality, I only really got, I'd say, 80-20. And a lot of times, the negative ones was like, how do you have 1,000 hours in this game? And that's it. Like, that's the end of it. Like, yeah, it's toxic, but they could have said a lot worse. Like, I'd rather have that than the words they could have used. Let's do this first. Not about the game, just how you spent your time. Yeah, exactly. They're saying, what did you do? Just stand in the town for all 1,000 hours. I'm quoting that almost verbatim. Is all you did was AFK in town. I'm okay with that. Could have been so much worse. So like I said, what I don't want is zero feedback. Or like it's, for example, oh, just play the game more and you'll get better. Or, oh, check out a guide if you want to get better at the game. That wasn't like the whole point. The point was, if you're so smart, the point was, here's my issues, and I think you all might have solutions. And just go wild.
The weary traveler draws close to death.
And it pretty much worked. I haven't been able to do it again, though. This has to be turned off, right? Everything else can kind of stay. We're not exactly melting them, and this is gonna come back up, I'm sure. Can I click this? No.
An empire should sparkle like ice upon the winter stone.
Okay, so he has the ice buff, which is whatever. I think the fire one, because we do fire damage, I think it gives him fire resistance that I don't want. What might look weird in Path of Exile is skipping monsters. Basically, consider this area is a speedrun area. The sooner I get through this area, the better for everybody. All we care about is the boss. Technically, you can explore the map. This is almost another one of the game's roguelike features. This is a one-shot dungeon. You have one chance to do the dungeon, and there's a couple of buffs littered around the arena. And if you find them, it does make it easier. I think one might give you better rewards, too. Been playing Defense of the Ancients, too. Dota, by the way. Wasn't the greatest player, dumped it. Realized that I've been playing the game wrong. I'm on my single player grind right now. There you go. I think games like Dota and League are also kind of dependent on who taught you the game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, someone may have been taught Dota or League wrong. And, like, now, whenever they play it solo, it's just not fun. Because it's not, like, they're not playing to the expectations of the rest of the team. And it's not to say they're doing something wrong. It's more so, like, their gameplay isn't designed for randos. Same thing happens in MMOs. You might be the best healer in your squad, pumping out DPS, but it's only because you can trust your tank.
Failure is an illusion.
Am I not hitting this? It can't be ignited. That's really bad. If I can't ignite, I actually can't do damage.
Such resilience.
Well,
this empire remains filled with emperors in waiting.
it's not my fault. I wonder what you're supposed to do if you can't ignite an enemy. Like, you legit just do 0 damage to it? This is not a game about using different abilities. I'm not gonna just all of a sudden have freezing or something. Six more attempts to get a high-level Val Lightning Strike. Crap. You have to do this, I think. Yep. Yeah, my Val Lightning Strike isn't even level 20. Or, it's not quality 20. So again, talking about farming and grinding. In this game, not only is your weapon something to scale up, but your individual skills, you can add quality to them. However, for me to add quality to my skill, I have to corrupt it after, which means it can no longer be modified. And that's RNG. I don't know if there's a reliable way to add quality to a corrupted skill, which is what Val Lightning Strike is, a corrupted skill.
Where
Yo, thank you all for tuning in. Even if you're just co-working with me, I'm doing the work of playing Path of Exile. You're doing the work of grooming your cat. We're just keeping each other company while we handle business. While we're 10 toes in, deep in business.
An aspirant can afford to be promising. An emperor whose empire awaits you.
I think it helps that we're not like Giga Smurfs in this game. What I don't see a lot of, and this is a really interesting thing, it might be like due to the community or whatnot, but I rarely ever see like a new player stream for Path of Exile,
Is more dangerous
unless it's like a huge streamer or something like that, playing Path of Exile for a new season. I rarely see someone like with a title that says playing Path of Exile for the first time. Curse enemies with despair on hit. Add to melee range. It's exciting. But these are corrupted, right? So like this is a really bad pair of gloves, but despair on hits kind of good. You have to level a gem to 20, get it to 20 quality, then corrupt it. Yeah, that's where we're having issues right now. All right, so we need I need a gem to convert into a new gem, and I think I had one already. This one? Spectral Shield Throw of Shattering is not fun. I tried my best to make that work, and it's another skill that absolutely no one plays. And probably for good reason. It's this. Oh crap, I need... We have 20% here. I should probably think about quality instead. Deadly Ailments has to go up. Okay. Chat, we did all of that dungeon for a whole 16% on one single item. One single skill. And now I have to do this. I just don't have exposure. I guess like eventually we will have exposure. This reduces elemental damage I take. We gotta get exposure at some point. So that's almost like not even getting a skill until I have the items behind it. Gino Machino, the Soul streamer, was doing that the other day. It was only in Act 3, massively underleveled. I think there's like a real novelty in seeing people play things like Path of Exile or Dead Cells for the first time.
Thanks to your...
And then there's like probably a level where like it's mid-tier. They're not giga experts, but they're also not new players anymore. And that's like completely different than watching a new player. It's like I'd rather see you like be completely green than knowing like somewhat what you're doing. Or I'd rather you have full knowledge of what you're doing. And that's not just for Path of Exile, even for roguelike games. Like, I found myself on YouTube, for example, where like, okay, a video that's your first time ever playing the roguelike, like that's fantastic. The vid where you're like getting the true ending, final boss, fantastic. In between that though, like getting up to true ending, like no one wants to see that. V, I only got so many hours of the day. 23 of them are dedicated to scrolling on TikTok. Wake me up when you're on true ending. I get it. It makes sense. I think some games, like Tiny Rogues, for example, where you're kind of climbing up through bosses, that's where it's like kind of tough. Because like the true bosses of Tiny Rogues are great. All the bosses are great. But it's like truly a spectacle to see those final bosses. I'm just glancing at the items when they drop. Could I have passed something that's like actually good? Probably. But like this thing is highlighted for some reason. 400 armor. Well, we don't need armor anymore. We're just gonna go into a ward.
Impressive. But a fly does not flee more meddling in my marvelous.
Hello? Dude, freaking vanish. About to say, where's my pop? It takes me so many swings to get to 6, and then once I hit 6, the monster should be dead. That's the whole setup.
You may despise the machine world, but you'll hate my prison even more.
That tier 1 cold damage and high tier attack speed. So yeah, like I said, either way, I like to do Path of Exile offline. I don't really stream it, but just a quick check-in, just to see how we're doing. B, what's the litmus of your, crap, I can't do this. Where do you stand in Path of Exile right now? And I can show you exactly where. And then I'll never have to show you again until the next season, when something else has been added. This should be big. Nice. Honestly, that's all I really wanted to do, was to get those 2 levels. And kind of just show you all where I'm at. Alright. Tomorrow we're gonna do V Try Me, which we haven't done in a little bit. I have a couple of games that we could look at. I don't know exactly which ones I want to do tomorrow. Of course, these are roguelikes. One of them is almost like a survival sandbox roguelike, so I'm not sure how it's gonna look on stream exactly, but it's all stuff I want to show at some point. A couple of people came in with games that I put on wish list, and maybe those might show up, maybe not. Depends on if I get access to them. Wednesday we'll have Wholesome Burst live. Before that, we gotta figure out how to do this Gungeon Isaac Noita thing. If it starts on Wednesday, great. That means I figured out how to go about getting true wins in those games. Otherwise, we're gonna be trying to fill in the gap until we decide if we're gonna do 23 BC or not. Other than that, though, big thanks to everyone tuning in today. Those who were here for the GDQ segment, definitely big ups to you. Thank you all for catching all of that cool stuff. We might try some stuff in February for Black History Month with GDQ. If they do that, well, I think they'll do it again. I still don't feel very confident in my ability to do like speed runs and stuff, but that we did yesterday, my confidence is definitely higher up. Tomorrow we'll be on same time, same place. Keep up on YouTube. Still working on tier list. Still working on random roguelike games. That's getting closer to being done. I'm just trying to get it under an hour. Socials, Twitter, Discord. Thank you for the bits, follows, and subs. Raids from the homies. Hold up. Raids from Loot or Die. Subs from Ward, Blaze. A lot of followers from yesterday that we didn't do shoutouts for. Thank you all for tuning in today, people. Appreciate the support. But we're good to go. Either way, you all have a good night, good day, good evening, good whatever, wherever you are. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Have a good night, everybody.